Okay, welcome to Star Trek Adventures Up and Away. This is a campaign, obviously, of Star Trek Adventures by Modifius. And we have a new crew and new players to this game. This game is brand new. This is the first episode. And we'll be doing several of these and see how we like it. And if we do, we'll be continuing this game on for a little bit. And I will get started with the introduction. The USS Carthage maiden voyage started a week ago. Traveling at Warp 8, Captain Conroy and his new crew are just settling in. The USS Carthage was the newest Galaxy-class Federation starship, built at the shipyards at Starbase 47. Captain Conroy had been a captain of a Constitution-class starship, but now finds himself aboard a larger, newer, and more capable vessel. That being said, most of the crew have never worked together, and relationships like that take time to form. There was more than just the chain of command to consider. Starfleet knew this, and had sent the USS Carthage on a simple mission of surveillance. Star System FGC 20903 was charted 50 years ago, but more research was required to learn about the pre-warp society on the third moon of a Jovian gas giant. Little was known about the people there, but clearly General Order 1 was in play. Research and surveillance. How hard could it be? And I will let everyone just give a however brief or long of an introduction you want to do to your characters. For those who are watching, everybody's playing two main characters in case the situation calls for different locations for people to be in. And it is difficult for sometimes people to get left out of certain scenes, so I don't want that. So I want to give the most possible interaction with the game as I can. So everybody's playing two characters. And we'll just go left to right. Ghost, why don't you get started with Captain Conroy and Lieutenant Mcmurphy.
Alright, so Captain Jesse Conroy was born on Maldan 4. It was a distant colony, and on some charts it wasn't even considered part of the Federation. They didn't happen to put it in. Poor trade lanes, had terrible supply lines. It wasn't necessarily impoverished, but they didn't get too much attention from Starfleet or the Federation. Not really. Conroy, on his own planet, acted as somewhat of a mediator and an everyman within his family. There were finite amounts of resources on his planet, so Conroy and his family were more or less acting diplomats and government between these different factions on his planet. Eventually became tired of that, everything being treated with such extreme intensity when there was such a much larger galaxy out there beyond. So whenever Starfleet improved their reach, Conroy decided to join up with Starfleet. Did very well at the Academy, was considered very personable and approachable, excelled in most situations of captainship, but was seen as sometimes too rational, too straightforward, not so much bold. Served as an XO, an officer on other crews. One of the more notable instances was on the USS Diomedes under a Captain Hauserman, where he eventually, through the tribunal and court systems, exposed one of a superior officers trying to take advantage of a primitive race going against the Prime Directive. After that, most of his service was fairly average until now. Time comes to take things away on the USS Carthage on its maiden voyage. And for Lieutenant Mcmurphy, Mcmurphy was born on the Resfrek orbital station. Again, fairly isolated. It was a deep space mining station, and then it was refurbished to act as a fully habitable, just living station to refugees displaced by Ferengi aggression. It was uncharacteristically xenophobic towards outsiders, so a lot of people focused on self-reliance just trusting the family unit more than people who from the outside, as people put any kind of new problems towards the refugees. But he began to grow tired of the environment and himself also signed out to Starfleet to get out of the orbital station. He didn't make many friends at the academy. He kept to himself and was very blunt, straightforward, and didn't really fit in a lot of groups. But he excelled in security path, scrutiny, second nature for figuring people out when they're liars, and ended up being involved in a frontline border conflict with the Romulans after graduation. He doesn't talk much about that time, but records would show for his service record that he was separated from the crew after it was shot down as a USS Bolus was shot down, engaged in brutal close quarters combat with the Romulans on board, and basically all hands were lost on both ships, or so people assumed, until he was picked up after setting up a radio beacon with very few survivors. And then was, after a few months leave for recovery, was reassigned to the Carthage. And that's Conroy and Mcmurphy.
Okay. Matt, your 2 characters, please.
Yeah, so as my first main character, I guess, that I'll be playing is Lieutenant Hova Gyro, a Bajoran born on Bajor. She was a young adult for around the time of the occupation of the Cardassians. First, she'd started out being part of a small agricultural farming community, both her and her family being enslaved by the Cardassians and forced to work for them. She had quickly joined the freedom fighters on Bajor until they were able to drive out the occupying Cardassians. Gyro was one of the first Bajorans to enter the Federation on some special deals and such, not fully training, say, with the Federation and going through the same methods, but because her uncle was a major government official with the provisional government of Bajor, she was able to get quite a few assignments, almost like the token Bajoran on quite a few ships. Because of her background, because of her strong belief both in the prophets and also in that many people should be interfered with and many people should be helped. A lot of times, Gyro has conflicted with a lot of the people on her ship and a lot of the captains that she has been on the ship with. She has been demoted a few times and has been changed from ship to ship in order to not fully cause a fuss, instead of being discharged and sent to another planet to work on something else. Her uncle, because of his influence and just because of her own what she represents on various ships, she is able just kind of get past here and there before things get too bad on one ship or another. She had in her past lost her right arm as there was an incident on a planet where they were against a hostile beast creature. She had enabled most of the other crew to escape using transporters, but unfortunately when her arm was inside the creature's mouth as she was fighting against it and they transported her back up, she had lost it. Since then, she has been very averse to any sort of transportation or using transporters, and prefers to use the shuttles to get down to a planet. My secondary character is a human named Lehi Nax, Commander Lehi Nax. She's a medical officer, and she's born on Earth. She's had a kind of diplomatic upbringing, as her parents showed her more of the diplomatic side of things. She wasn't extremely interested, more interested in the practical aspects and interested in studying medicine. After she completed her training with Starfleet and went aboard a few different ships, unfortunately there was an outbreak, some sort of virus that broke out, and because of the lack of quick thinking of her superior officer, unfortunately the virus had eaten away at one of her limbs, and one of her friends had passed away because of such things. Now that she is one of the medical officers upon this ship, Nax does everything in her power to make sure that she has the final say and that she acts quickly so something like this can never happen again.
All right, very good. Raz, please.
Hey, on comms / science, we have Joran Dell, who is a joint trill. He grew up on a frontier colony pretty far away from the core, at the time wanting nothing more than to leave that planet and the farming and become an actual ace pilot, because he watched some holo novels and read about them and sort of wanted to travel the stars. And so it was found that he possessed natural talent for flying, and with some influence from a family friend in Starfleet who later became a mentor, he was then chosen to be joined with a long-lived symbiont called Del, hence his name Joran Del. This largely calmed the pretty reckless Joran and added a depth of knowledge and wisdom that others around him now appreciate. He looks very young, but he doesn't act that young anymore. And fortunately for both Joran and Del, both host and symbiont shared an insatiable hunger and passion for exploring and learning. And so that led to a successful young career running both con and science, which is still both sort of the interests that both of the characters had that are now joined.
Yes.
And then Commander Bragbavslal is a Tellarite. He's the chief engineer of this Galaxy-class vessel. He's known to be fair, maybe sometimes unorthodox, very much hands-on, like he would never ask anyone to do something that he wouldn't do himself. He's very loyal to Starfleet, as he grew up in Starfleet, actually on a ship, with his mother being an engineer. It runs in a family, so he's very strong on his passion for engineering and knowing the ins and outs of ships. Feels more comfortable there than he would on a planet also. So he went to Starfleet Academy, where he made plenty of friends. He's a very social creature. He tries to keep up with them as much as he can. It's also notable that he's a very good poker player, and so he hosts poker games whenever he can. He worked through the ops track, which is engineering, through just hard work, remarkable dedication, and notably in his service record is, and other people would know that he saved a ship during a warp core failure, where he himself sort of ran in and fixed it with a threat to his own life, but he managed to do it. And then another time, he actually took command of the ship from engineering when the bridge had been destroyed, which is a story that people might know about him, but he doesn't like to talk about because it was very traumatic, because he lost a lot of friends that day. And that's Bragbavslal.
All right. Effie, last but not least.
All right. So my main character will be Commander Viana. She is your stereotypical Vulcan. Though she has not gone through the ritual to completely remove emotions, she still has that. But she grew up on a fairly busy colony, but not for like too long, because then her parents got involved in Starfleet. Her mom ended up rising through the ranks, becoming a captain of her own ship, and so Viana is very familiar with the ins and outs of Starfleet, and got really into all of that, which eventually inspired her to go on that track as well. So she did join Starfleet Academy so that she can get on the fast track to the position that she holds today. And she does have experience, obviously, on previous vessels as lower ranks, eventually being picked to be on the Carthage. One notable thing about her past is that she did discover an artifact from a really old civilization, long dead, and that artifact, essentially, after she was able to decipher it, found out that it was a sort of calendar that predicted the entire civilization's devastation, and it's something that is reported, and she would still think that it's a significant event for her as well, a big achievement. I'm also playing Ensign Avery Atkins. So she grew up on a star base, and only really touched down on any sort of planet once she started getting into the essentially getting into Starfleet Academy. But her parents were essentially traders, and she really got she wasn't really interested in their business at all, but she was definitely interested in the ins and outs of a ship and how it functioned. So that's why she wanted to go into engineering, particularly with a focus in warp core and how the warp drive works. She's fairly new. This is her first assignment ever on the USS Carthage. So she's very eager. She's very nervous, but also excited about the whole entire event, or being on the Carthage.
So the most junior engineer for Commander Slawl. Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. He'll form her into a diamond. just need enough pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh.
Plenty of pressure.
Is Matt back?
Yes, sorry.
No problem. Okay. With that, let's get started. We start things off on the bridge, and I'll swing you over there.
Damn, this is cool.
Yeah, you will notice all your characters are accessible from this screen, even your secondaries. If you need support characters, I will pull them in, like Ensign Venom. And so if we need those people, I'll pull their tokens out. If you need access, yeah, I do. Let me just fix that.
He just gets beamed out and then re-beamed in.
That's right. Antimatter reactor failure.
Yep.
If you ever need access to the USS Carthage's ship with the statistics, one thing you'll notice is when you do tasks when you're on the ship, a lot of times you're assisted by the ship. Just click on the token and you will see your options in the macro bars. Same with your characters. The pool status, for those who've played 2D20 before, this is your threat and your momentum. Currently you have 0 momentum and you have 8 threat. Your momentum will gain throughout the game, and you will spend it. But we don't need to worry about that just yet. Here's I'm gonna.
Is that called pool momentum or group momentum? Is there a name for that?
It's just momentum.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So momentum isn't character based. Okay.
No, it is shared by everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you can generate it, and the next person behind you can use it. Let me. All right, this is okay. So you are a few, perhaps an hour out from your destination, FGC 20903, and this is who is on the bridge currently. Everyone's very eager to perform their first mission for Starfleet and this ship. And I will let you guys go ahead and do some intro roleplay amongst your characters, and then we'll get into the meat of it.
Would you mind just quickly restating in one sentence what the mission is?
To do surveillance on a pre-warp society.
That's right.
I think Lieutenant Gyro. She's back in her position as chief of security and also on the bridge. She's back behind the captain's chair, looking over some of the analytics for the ship's weapons and just seeing in general, overseeing the security, seeing how security movements are going through the ship itself, making sure everything is fine, making sure everything is up to code. Even though there's nothing that's wrong right now, I think on the ship, I think just to make sure Lieutenant Gyro is kind of going over various things and maybe looking over this, if there is any information on this pre-warp society that they've gotten, looking over that as well.
Captain Conroy is sitting in the captain's chair, looking over probably a data pad or something in his chair. He looks up at the screen, looks to Lieutenant Dell and Ensign Venom. Lieutenant Dell, could you give us an update on our current location and our distance from FGC 20903?
Rez?
Yeah, it would help to, unmute on my cable
I
itself.
figured.
Sorry, so he says, of course, Captain, beep, bop, boop, beep, and then I would have to ask the GM for that information.
About 15 minutes out.
15 minutes out, or is that something I should roll, like, just because I'm thorough, roll a sensor sweep to see if anything is of note in the system?
Sure. Go ahead.
So I click on the Carthage and then click on task sensors?
Yep. First do you. So you're going to do let's see, we'll say science and reason. So you can roll that. This is going to be a difficulty 1, and then you can use Carthage afterwards. So you use yourself first, and then the ship.
There a focus? I don't
You
think
get sensors,
so.
or if you do not, then no.
I mean, is helm operations applicable?
No, I wouldn't say
No,
not.
I don't think so. No. So yeah, no. I'll roll that. Task difficulty you said is 1?
Yeah.
Alright. So it rolled a 13,
Rolled a
which is
13.
under, right?
Yep, it says you have 1 success, so you have 1 success. So go ahead and do the Carthage and have it roll.
That's also sensors, ship science, right?
Yes.
So success, I think.
So 2. So what happens here is when you roll more successes than you need, you gain momentum. So in this case, you just gained 1 momentum from your rolls. So add 1 momentum to the pool. I'll whisper you, Del.
So Del would sort of crane his neck back and say, 15 minutes, Captain, scanning the system now, and then proceeds as with his fingers to go beep, bop, boop, bop, boop on the console.
Excellent, Lieutenant Dell. Maintain present speed and course. We're on schedule, no need to rush.
Commander Viana in this time is, as they're waiting, she's also looking through the research that they do have on the settlement. She's being very quiet in the studies as she sits next to the captain.
Yeah. Conroy will look over to Viana. Number 1, any additional information that we need to know on this moon, this society? Do you happen to know anything about I believe I have it in my brief, but what information have you shown for these people that's available?
Yeah, and you can roll a, how about, boy, science and insight for what you remember.
Okay, so you'll have to pardon me with
Yeah,
the
you're fine.
whole. I just clicked on the science, and then like
Click.
on my sheet.
No. Click on your token,
Gotcha.
and it says task science. Click that,
Oh, nice little. Okay.
and then you would select insight.
Very nice.
Difficulty is 1. I don't think you have any focus. No, I would say no.
And you said difficulty 1?
Yes. And you don't get to... Yeah. You are... Now, you guys are rolling... oh, I see. So there's one thing you should know. So on both your rolls, you picked 1d20. You need to roll 2d20, unless I tell you otherwise.
Oh, cool. That increases our chances.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, so go ahead. You guys can roll another d20 and each.
Yeah, just do /roll 1d20.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then is Viana able to use the ship?
I would say not. So that's a success for her and 2 successes for
crit.
Dell. You have no focus, so you do not get an extra, but you're going to get 1 more momentum. So you have a total of 2. Yeah, Yvonne, you wouldn't be able to use the computer because this is just by thought. I'm going to whisper you something.
So the second... So if I roll 2d20, does only one of them count? Do both
No, they
count?
both count. So it gives you more chances for success and more chances to generate momentum. So I gave you an extra momentum there because you had 2 successes instead of 1 success. And then
I thought I had 3. Isn't the crit worth 2?
It's not a crit. It's only a crit if you have focus.
I thought a focus is a crit in the rules that you posted, and a crit is a sorry. So if you have a focus and you roll under, that generates 2 successes. If you don't have a focus and you roll a 1, that generates 2 successes. At least that's what it says in the handout.
Let me look. It's been a minute.
I might have misunderstood again.
No, it's been
today.
a long time.
This is under performing a task. Each die roll that equals is or less than the target number scores a single success. If there is a focus, then each die that rolls equal or less scores 2. If there isn't a focus, each die that rolls a 1 scores 2 successes.
Oh, okay. I had not remembered that. All right, that's cool. All right.
I think including the ship, I have 4.
Yes, you
Yep,
do.
1, 1, and 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So you've generated
Cheers.
4 momentum. Okay. Yvonne, you know that... Let me switch back over to this. Yeah, this is kind of a lot to read through, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. Okay.
And then Lieutenant Dell gets back to the captain and says, Captain, picking up a pretty heavy radiation storm coming from the Jovian gas giant in the system.
I see. Define heavy if you can for me, Lieutenant Dell. Enough to mess up our systems, or what are we looking at?
Yeah, from those successes, I would say that he knows quite readily that it could impact your sensors, and that the radiation itself, if it is come in contact with, could damage the ship badly.
Yeah, so Dell would say, "Oh, this is a big one. Even our ship. We should not fly into it, Captain. It might damage us severely."
I see. If we're able to chart a course to avoid and so arrive at our destination with little delay, are we able to do so?
Question for the GM: is this
Gi-
going to be a problem for the planet we're going to?
Give me a. Oh, you're looking for the. Yeah, that's a science reason. Difficulty 2.
Okay, on me,
Yep,
right?
on
I start
you.
my turn.
Hmm.
I could also wait until Ivana's thing is done before we move this
Yeah.
further.
That's fine.
Sorry, Viana's. Or was it Gyro's?
Well, Gyro
Yeah.
did,
It's
but
Gyro's, right?
Yana was questioned on it.
Yeah. So I'll hold here.
Captain, it appears there are 2 species on the planet. As we know, they are both pre-warp. But not much else has come from our research.
Let's see. Older studies, I believe. It's been 50 years now. Much might have changed at this point.
Then I rolled the science task. You said this was reason?
Yep.
Dice pool is 3d20 because I have a talent that builds sort of onto previous successes in the adventure on the same
Perfect.
roll. Is then applicable? Is this astrophysics? Is this
I
a
would.
physical
I
phenomenon?
would say so.
Okay, then that is a focus. Difficulty was 2. Submit.
Oh boy.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Why are those? Oh, because they're focuses, of
Yep.
course.
Hmm.
Jeez.
So that's
Okay,
5. So
alright.
3 more. So you're capped at 6 momentum. Now, one thing you can do is you can spend momentum to one. If you look at the handout, it says what the spins are. Momentum spins. This would be under
Common momentum
improving the odds. Okay. So what you would be doing here is obtain information. You can spend additional momentum to gain more information about a situation. So if you wanted to really know about this, you could give me a momentum and I would give you every possible thing you would need to know about this.
I probably should, right? Because I have
It's
extra.
you. Yeah, you can do that. Hmm.
You should.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And is this under the handout momentum, page 8385, or
Yes.
a different one?
Yes, that one.
And this is...
It's in the table, obtaining information.
Oh, the 4th one. Yeah. Momentum from a successful task allows you to learn more about a situation. That's great. Yeah, I'll do that. How do advantages work if I was to spend momentum?
So
for
you do
advantages?
that. So spending advantages, you do it before you roll, and you get an extra die.
I see, but so for example, I could create an advantage for later to use when we get into the system to avoid the storm. Is that how
No,
advantages work?
no. That one you have to do pull from the pool. So you have 6 in the pool right now, and so you would say I want to spend momentum from the pool. So you would pay me 2 momentum, and then you would get your advantage.
I see. Okay, so I'm just essentially using the one that is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That
That's create opportunity. Create advantage is a little different. Basically, advantage is a thing where you just kind
a
of
factual point.
Yeah, it's
into
not
the
like it's not a hard mechanical thing. It's like I just give you some sort of advantage or remove a complication.
I see. Yeah. Well, I'll spend the one that can't fit into the pool because
Right.
I should
Yes.
to obtain more information, and specifically,
Now this is
I guess we're looking for how dangerous is this going to intersect with that planet? Do we need to do
yeah,
something?
and I have a good one for that.
Do I then need to roll for the ship sensors as well?
You
then?
can. You absolutely can. Yes.
Okay, and this would be ship science. Submit. No, I don't think so.
That one was a failure. That's okay.
Whoa, what is that? High energy protons. And you're sending that to all of us, right? So we can all see what it is?
I think it kind of the whisper messed up because it was copy and pasted, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about this is the planet that we're going to, or is this the gas giant?
You're going to a moon of the planet. The gas giant is what the moon orbits, and this is coming from the gas giant.
Oh no. This is not even a different orbit around the sun. This is the moon of that crazy gas giant.
That's correct.
Oh no.
Like Jupiter.
Well, Lieutenant Dell, if he gets the attention of the captain, would relay as much of this as he can because, the captain's a smart sciencey man. He understands things like that. So you'd explain that it's the rings, if I understand as a player correctly what you wrote, it's the rings themselves that are very dangerous.
Yes, and the rings are the ones that emulate, that have the radiation that pump from them, but
yeah,
going
so
into them are
avoid
bad.
The belt and the rings, yeah. And so I assume that moon doesn't intersect the rings ever, otherwise everybody would be dead on it, right?
They do not, no.
Okay, because if their orbit took them through it, that would be horrific. Yep, so then Dell says, Captain, shouldn't be a problem for us to stay outside those rings. We just should really make sure to avoid those.
Very good, Lieutenant Dell. Plot us a course, avoiding the planet as much as possible, but still putting us on track with the moon if you can. Let me know of any variances in time.
Yes, Captain. I'm planning on a geostationary orbit around the moon itself.
Very good.
Gyro, will you give me a security, either, I would say reason makes sense. Difficulty
Alright.
1.
Security reason? Okay.
And if you fail, Viana can do it.
Sure. I'm guessing no applicable focus.
Do you have sensors, things like that?
No.
No, then no.
Okay. And difficulty...
1.
One.
Okay, so you do succeed. I'm going to whisper you something really quick.
I keep getting sort of a roll 20 AM thing as well.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I have to look at the macro
Okay,
for
okay.
it.
Lieutenant Gyro chimes in, and she says, Captain, depending on how close that we get to the planet, if they have the moon, if they have the ability for long-range sensors to extend outwards, they would be able to pick us up on their sensor range. If we stay hiding behind the gas giant itself to monitor the moon, they will not be able to pick us up on their long-range sensors.
I see. Will we be able to do so without coming into contact with the rings or the electromagnetic pulses?
Yeah, you can just basically put the planet and the moon. You can stay behind it, basically.
Yes, Captain.
Very good. Let's do that then. We
Change
can start
your-
putting the
change your
ship
plan.
in a...
Captain?
Thank you, Lieutenant Dell. We will see about putting the ship into silent running as well if need be, but let's evaluate and see first. When we have reached our position to begin surveillance, I'd like to go ahead and call a meeting with the senior staff in my radar room to come up with a proper plan to fully survey this planet, make sure we get as much information as we can for the Federation.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Understood.
Yeah, it doesn't take much longer till you reach your destination. Ensign Venom brings you out of warp and puts you right outside the planet as Lieutenant Dell had navigated. And I will bring that up. It's on your view screen now. Yeah, turn on the animation. Go. It's not going. Oh, there we go. It's still not going. Play. All right, whatever. You see the Jovian gas giant in front of you. You are far enough away from the rings to avoid being damaged or having much done to you. You do notice after a quick detection that there are some interference from that radiation storm, and it will be hard to use your sensors appropriately from here unless you fire a probe. And you are here.
To speak it back to you, we're in the system, but not yet at the gas giant.
No, you are. You are at the gas giant. Yep. You're on the other side of the gas giant, away, just outside of range of the radiation and the rings.
Hi, Lieutenant Gyro, seeing that their sensors have been affected by the radiation storm. She says, Captain, unfortunately, our own sensors are degrading slightly with the proximity of the radiation from the rings. We will not be able to get an accurate reading unless we establish a probe in the system, though my concern is that this probe potentially could be picked up on their sensors.
I see. Well, let's go ahead and give the sensors the Academy a try anyway, see if we can get some information, and then after that we'll come up with a plan to work around this issue. I'd like to try not to interfere with the growth of this species on this planet if we can.
All right. Gyro will attempt to do the best that she can with the sensors, see if she can compensate for the degradation from the radiation.
Yeah, that would be a... I would give you a security reason. Difficulty 4.
Could we teamwork that?
You can do an assist, or...
Yeah, I'd like to assist.
Yeah, so you'll roll 1 die, 1d20, with your science and reason, and then she'll roll her normal 2d20, and whatever momentum. So you're going to combo, you're going to add a die, basically, with your own roll, and then she also uses the computers.
So I will roll under reason just 1d20, right, which is the assist die.
That's right.
You can't have multiple assists, right?
That's correct. You cannot.
Okay.
Is this still part of astrophysics?
No, I would say not.
Got it. That's a success.
So 1 success for him.
So Dell either improves the resolution of the sensors or like feeds you data or something like that.
So what is the difficulty?
4.
2? 4. I'm gonna spend at least 1 momentum, I think.
And just remember, in Star Trek, momentum is not spent 1-to-1, right? So the first one costs 1, the second one costs 2, the third one costs 3.
Yep. So the first one costs 1. We have 6 in the pool,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might as well go. I'll spend 3 total.
Go big.
Okay.
Do it.
So you get 2 extra dice from that.
Yep.
So you had 5 dice now?
Focus.
She's total
No.
4.
4.
Yeah, 4 and then the ship.
We got it.
I thought she starts at 2 already.
She does.
Start at 2, and then I spent
Adds
3
another
total.
2.
She's
So
spent
I
3
spent 3
momentum, which gives her
momentum.
2 dice.
And then I passed 1 forward as a teamwork
That's
test.
not an additional die, though. I think this is a success. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's just a
Oh.
success. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you
Cool.
can now
Finally
use
got
the
it.
computer.
Oh, cool. Okay, so we did. We made it, and then
Might get extra.
computers. So
Yep.
is it task sensors?
Yes.
Okay. And this would be ship security, or
Yes, you can use that.
Sure. So there's no successes, but we did get enough
So
successes.
you did.
With,
So
the company.
so just to recap of whatever happened. So mechanically, so Dell gave an assist die, got 1 success. Good. Gyro spent 3 momentum for 2 extra dice, for a total of 4 dice, and she got 3 successes. So you did pass, and then obviously the computer got 0. So I'm going to give you a whisper, Gyro.
Mm-hmm. So, Gyro kind of focuses the computers with some antimatter discriminators in order to try and clear up some of the interference from the particles of radiation that are emanating from the rings in order to try to clear things up and get a better sense of what's going on. Also, I highly suggest pulling up some Star Trek technobabble generators. Hmm. She sees something on the sensors. She pulls it up. She can send it to the captain's computer. And also Commander Villana, so they can both take a look at it. She says, Captain, Commander, it seems that there's some sort of something magnetic near the Jovian gas giant. It looks like it is not natural. It seems to be moving closer to the gas giant, not in its orbit.
I meant
It's being
metallic,
sucked in.
sorry. Metallic.
Oh,
no.
metallic.
Yeah. Mhm.
Something metallic being pulled in to the gas giant. Seems to be sucked in by some sort of, by the gravity well.
Metallic. Any more information than that, or?
Can she pull up anything else?
With a another with that success, I would say that you do. You are getting a. There's something coming through. You hear a. There's something coming on the communicator. You're getting a distress call.
She says, it seems to be a distress call. Shall I enable it for you, Captain?
Yes, and it's just coming from the object.
You believe it is.
Indeed.
Yes, let's play it. They're pre-warp, but that doesn't mean pre-space. It's possible it's localized.
Patching it through. She pulls it up, pressing a few buttons, sliding her finger across the display and pulling up the distress call.
Yeah, the distress call is somewhat, rough. This is Interlunar Probe 12. We are in immediate distress. We are caught in Zephyr's gravity well. Our orbit is into the atmosphere, and we are unable to generate sufficient thruster. We are in full eclipse of and unable to contact master control. If there is any other listener able to receive this message, please respond and advise. Repeat, this is Interlunar Probe 12. And that's what you hear. And repeat.
Clarify, this is a probe from that civilization, it appears?
We don't know.
You don't know.
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's from.
And a manned vessel.
But these names make sense to us? Zaphro and Jinida?
They do not. You don't know anything about the civilization or what they call themselves or the planets around them.
Okay. So we'd have to do maybe a more... a better scan of the ship itself to figure out if it is from a Starfleet or a different race that we're aware of.
Well, I mean, the translator definitely kicked on, so they're not speaking any, they're speaking some language that is not in the Federation database. That is for sure.
Oh, they are speaking a language.
They are not. They are not speaking anything that was in the Federation database. You can easily see that.
Okay. So then maybe he will just hazard that assumption, right? Like Lieutenant Dell will sort of turn around in his chair and says, Captain, if I might make the assumption that this is potentially a probe from said moon, which puts us in the dilemma that we might have to interfere to save their life, but in the process break some rules.
And the captain doesn't even really hesitate. He just says, I don't know who's my transporter room.
That would be, we'll just say Ensign Atkins has been assigned to transporter duty.
Nice.
Yeah, so first Conroy turns to Gyro. Lieutenant, go ahead and assemble a security team. Prepare them at the transporter room. We're going to try to lock on and beam whatever crew on board that probe aboard. And he will go ahead and hit the button for transporter.
Captain, if I may, this goes against the Prime Directive.
I realize that, Commander. I've taken into account and I've evaluated that saving lives is more important than that at this time. And
If this event does not take place, then we are possibly preventing this civilization from learning from this.
Perhaps, but nonetheless, they're requesting aid, and I do not feel I can overlook it. Not in good conscience, we are in a position to do something in this case.
If I may, joining Starfleet, we knew that these sorts of situations would come around in our service. We are sworn to uphold the Prime Directive.
I will speak with you later, Commander, but for now, this is my order.
Could I
Understood.
try? Sorry, could Durandal privately use the computer to make some calculations for a hypothesis he has? Like, how does the system handle that? If he's, for example, theorizing he could cause a mass ejection from the gas giant itself, that on its wake, that sort of would restore the orbit or push out this vessel, is that something that he could?
I would say that would be an extended
run
task.
through
I would say that would be
computer?
there are ways to do things like that, but it would be an extended task, and I don't think you have time to undo all that work. I just don't
This is
think.
imminent. Okay.
Yeah, it's being pulled into the atmosphere of or that's what they said.
Gas giant, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if they will, you know that they're about to hit those rings and be radiated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So,
And Conroy will radio down to transporter room. Transporter room, attempt to lock on to coordinates, and he'll provide where the vessel is in orbit.
yep.
Attempt to locate any life forms aboard and get their life signatures. Beam them up as soon as possible whenever a security team is available.
Yep, and that is to Ensign Atkins, who is currently on transporter room duty, and I have sent you a whisper.
Okay, so like this
This would be Ensign Atkins on the transporter,
okay.
and somewhere else on the ship.
Was she hailed?
Yeah, he just did.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Who did? I want to make sure that I get the name
The
right.
captain.
Okay,
Conroy.
Captain, I'm detecting 3 life forms. I can't get a lock.
Attempt to boost the single and try to get the lock that way. We'll try to provide some additional power from engineering, and Conroy will work to do that. Communicating with probably Slough.
Captain, I could move us into a better position, given that the object is currently eclipsed by the giant. The moon cannot get a sensor reading on them or us.
Do so, but avoid risks to the Carthage as much as possible. We don't want to get ourselves in trouble trying to rescue them as well.
Of course, I'll maintain a high enough orbit.
Yeah, you
So
begin
Lieutenant
to
Bell will- yeah.
you begin to circle
Round
the gas giant to get a better look at this lunar object. You do see this probe being sucked into the atmosphere of the planet, and you see that it looks very unstable at this point. Dell, you think that you could fly in there to get a tractor beam lock if you wanted, but we can try the transporter as well. The transporter has severe problems with the interference of the radiation storm. This would be a difficulty 4 task, and it would be a difficulty 4 task. Now you can, I think that's pretty much it. So this would be a primary task from the ensign to do this. And I would allow an assist from Salal to boost power to the transporters.
Sure.
Okay.
That means I will have to Slal rolls what science? Or
No,
engineering?
engineering.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Engineering daring,
And-
because you're doing this quickly.
Engineering daring. Okay, and this is power systems, which is a focus.
Yep, that would be fine.
Daring, but it's 1d20 because
Yep,
I'm doing the assist.
correct.
With a focus. Difficulty is 1 for that because it's an assist. Yep, there's a success.
Okay, that's 1. So, Effie, you would do, for Atkins, she would do a engineering daring, difficulty 4.
Feel free to use momentum.
Yep, you
Okay,
have 3
20.
momentum in the pool, which means you could use all 3 to give yourself 2 extra dice.
Do it.
Since
Should-
this was a
should-
focus
should
roll,
I-
shouldn't it have generated 2 successes?
Assists do not.
Oh.
Oh, geez, I don't have a focus for this.
Get ship roll as well, right?
She will get the ship to roll. Yep,
Nice.
And you said a task difficulty of 4?
it is 4. If you would like to spend momentum, you can.
Oh,
That's good.
I forgot to mention momentum.
Okay. How many momentum would you like to spend?
You can spend 1 for 1 additional die, or you could spend 3 total for 2 additional die.
Correct.
Okay. I'm still not very familiar with this system. I guess.
So
I guess I'll
you take it. So what you do is you roll 2. If you have 3 momentum in the pool, you can spend it all for 2 additional d20s. Okay, so then you're going to roll originally you would roll 4 dice. So you're going to roll a total of 4 dice. So you're trying to roll under or equal to your task difficulty. Your daring and engineering for you is 14. So you're trying to roll under 14.
And this would have to
Okay.
happen before she rolls the ship?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I don't spend momentum here. I spend momentum with the ship.
No,
you spend it here.
spend it here.
Oh,
Just spend here.
Mhm.
so I should do 2
Yep, that's
for the 2 die.
that's
Yep.
fine.
Yeah, it's good. You can spend 3 and do 2 more.
Yeah.
So
Ooh,
that's
oh,
a complication. So that's 1 success and 1 complication. So now you have how many successes? You have 4 successes. So go ahead and roll the ship. The ship you will be rolling. Let's see. Probably security, or so weapons. Weapons daring. Or I'm sorry, it's not. It would be like weapons security. Sorry. Or engineering. I would allow engineering, make it easier. So you got a momentum back because you got 5 total successes there.
Okay.
So you are able to finally get a lock and transport them to where did you want them transported to, there, Captain?
To the transporter room with security prepared.
Okay.
Yeah, Gyro had already left, summoning up the security forces to go down there and meet. With phaser set to stun, just in case.
So how does this look as you're able to transport them in?
Well, Atkins is very, she's working very hard with the aid of Commander Salal, and she's both very focused but also nervous. Her hands are shaking as the pressure is mounting. As she's plugging away, making sure she's got all the correct calculations, she takes in a deep breath and finally says, "I've got a lock on."
Bring them aboard as soon as possible. We'll wait for security to arrive, but
The
I assume at this point this is when security arrives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
awesome. So yes, as soon as Gyro and her team comes aboard into the room, she'll basically bring them in,
Mm-hmm.
and they bunch of glitter.
Alright, one sec.
Wah,
Getting
wah,
it
wah,
all.
wah, wah.
It's- Oh no, you didn't do that. Where's my Lieutenant Gyro, Lieutenant Mcmurphy, Ensign Atkins, and another one of the security personnel, Lieutenant Cornwell, stand outside of the transporter room that Atkins is bringing them into. You see three forms, look green or gray scaled, kind of scaly skin aliens, wearing very stereotypical astronaut suits, big helmets, big baggy clothing, vac suits. They are actually quite tall, probably 7 feet in height, and pretty wide as well, with long arms. And you see they look out at you kind of in just shock.
I think Lieutenant Gyro walks to them and says, "Please do not panic. We have made sure that you were saved from the imminent being pulled into the gas giant. I am Lieutenant Gyro of the USS Carthage, representing Starfleet."
They look at each other for a moment and one speaks up. I'm Packerin. This is Tomilar and Samus. He kind of like slumps down to the ground, looking weak, and the other two do as well.
She looks to the rest and says, "We need to get these people to medical."
Yeah,
She will
maybe
go
Murphy.
over. Yeah.
Murphy will go and grab one of them.
Or you could just have Ensign transport him there. But,
Good.
Um,
yeah, right.
alright, let me move those guys over.
I don't think Lieutenant Gyro would tell them to transport them over, if possible, if they can still walk.
Yeah, they can with help.
Yeah, so Lieutenant Gyro wouldn't tell Atkins to beam them over to medical. She would have them kind of move over to medical physically. And of course contact Commander Nax.
Let me get this set. Where's my medical bay? There it is. Okay. So who's going over there? Who is all heading to the medical bay?
I think security.
Security.
Captain will, whenever that news comes over.
Yeah, I think Gyro would contact the captain and say, "Captain, we have the life forms aboard. They are humanoid, but very large. They seem to be weak or injured. We're not sure, but we are bringing them to medical bay to assess."
Understood. Commander Knox set up some quarantine tents, not to frighten them, but we don't know how our physiologies are going to interact or anything like that. We need to, for their safety and ours, make sure that they're isolated.
Of course, Captain. And Lieutenant Gyro will contact Commander Nax and inform her.
Would Yavanna go as well? Vajana? Or Del, for that matter?
I don't think Viana would accompany to the medical bay. She would not see a need unless the captain ordered her to.
I would give her the chair on the way. I'll lay down on the medical.
Alright, give me just 1 second. Pulling these guys over so you can see. Where? Alright. Okay. I can't see.
I can see.
Yep.
I can't. Why can't I see? Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so as you, Lieutenant Yara, you bring these 3 aliens in and set them up on the kind of the stretchers there. Commander Knox and Ensign Z, her nurse, are currently attending to them. Commander Knox, you are able to get, like, general life readings from these creatures. They appear to be have some sort of radiation sickness, and if you would give me a medical or a medicine reason roll, you can determine how to best treat them based on their physiology.
Okay, medicine reason.
Difficulty 1.
Mm-hmm. I don't think this would be a specialty of mine, unfortunately. Okay, well, get another one in the momentum
All right,
pile.
cool. Yeah, you're able to. You are able to come up with the correct cocktail to treat them. It should be simple injection.
Yeah, so Commander Nax, a bit annoyed that she's not very informed about brand new life forms being brought just when they are being brought to her. Her brow's a bit furrowed, but she takes a hypo needle and begins to spray, put it in their neck and treat them for radiation sickness. Afterwards, she takes another one and she hands it to Ensign Z, and she kind of points over to security and says, make sure these people get treated just in case for the radiation sickness. We don't need our crew being infected as well.
Yes, Commander. He walks over and gives a nod to the captain, and he'll begin injecting the security team that's there. The commander says that you require treatment for possible radiation contamination from these stowaways, newcomers.
Commander Nax says, stop stuttering, just give it to them. And she looks to the captain and says, I would prefer if I was informed when new life forms were brought aboard before they just come here. But I understand the circumstances.
Yes, Commander, I do apologize for not getting into contact with you, but it had to be very quickly done. Otherwise, I may not have been any patience. I will try to contact you sooner next time. Will they survive?
They'll be fine. There is nothing to worry about. Though I've not seen this type of physiology before, I will begin studies just in case. I think security, or at least 2 members, should stay. I do not know the intentions of these creatures.
He nods and he will direct that to Gyro that if you have to stay, probably just leave the 2 that were involved.
Oh, she nods, and she'll leave those 2 here. Says, yes, Captain.
Once you are done rendering treatment, Commander, I was going to bring the command staff to the situation room when we were on approach, but now seems as good a time of any. Whenever you're finished, please join us.
Yes, Captain. And she will continue treating them, and then she'll motion over for the Ensign Z to come back and says, are you done over there? It's not a long treatment.
Yes, Commander, I'm done.
Good. She kind of shoves some data slates into his hands and says, please start analyzing. And she's going to go over and start analyzing their physiology and making sure they're okay.
Yeah, he begins to run a series of tests on them. They're all awake at this point and pretty alert. One of them, the Packerin, seems to be the one who's speaking the most. Where are we? What is this place?
There's a lot of explaining that would need to be done on that point. My name is Captain Conroy, captain of this ship. This is the USS Carthage. I don't want to give you too much information right now. This is probably quite a shock to you.
Yes, we were sent.
Just know
Yes.
that we mean you no harm.
Good. We are the Pochai. We are astronauts. We are doing an interlunar experiment. We are basically looking at the other moons and seeing running various tests and such. This is something we would never have dreamed of, and he looks over to the others and they're wide-eyed. Where do you come from?
A place very far from here. For now, that will have to suffice. My crew and I have some things we must discuss. Please, be comfortable here. We will make sure that you're taken care of. There was radioactive sickness that you were suffering from, likely because of your gas giant that you are nearby.
Yes, we understand that it does radiate many light years away from it. We thought we were in good hands, but he just shrugs.
I will attempt to offer you explanation later, but for now I must speak with my crew. Situation that has come up. Please, wait here for us, and I will return and speak with you as soon as I can.
Thank you, Captain Conroy.
He nods, and he will go over his comm badge. And Captain Conroy, to all senior command staff, please meet in my situation room in the next 15 minutes. And he will look to Lieutenant Farrow. Will you accompany me?
And she nods and says, of course, Captain.
We'll begin walking along with her. Just as they're walking along, any information on the interaction with them? They seem hostile. They seemed friendly enough in the med bay, but...
She says, they were more surprised and thankful than anything else, Captain. I think that anyone would be when they encounter a brand new species. They did not seem hostile, but time will, of course, tell. I think this was a... she pauses for a moment. A good and adequate move, though you don't need my praise to make decisions. I know this.
I can imagine that some Starfleet brass may see it otherwise, but that's for me to explain. I appreciate you following my orders in this unusual situation.
She smiles a bit and says, as long as the orders are to assist people, then of course.
That's all I am to do. And if you ever catch me doing otherwise, please let me know.
I will, Captain.
Okay. Take the lift up.
I'm assembling the senior staff. Give me one sec.
It's senior staff.
All officers over 80.
Captain! Why do we have to do that?
Get off my lawn!
What day is it again?
We're playing bingo tonight.
I have 4 senior staff members that matter.
Yep.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
If it makes it easier, the senior operations staff, which should just be, yep.
You head to the captain's lounge, I think it's called, and there are...
Medical chief, engineering chief,
Yep.
Number 1, and captain.
Yes.
What about the security chief? Is
Yeah, I would include
Oh,
security.
Yara.
She's
Yep,
acting,
yep.
right?
I meant to
that's
pull her over. I'm sorry.
I don't mean to make it weird with Matt having to play 2 people
No,
in one
no, she should
scene,
be there.
but
She's the security.
Yeah.
I just
Hey, Slout.
All right, time
down.
to do 2 voices.
Slout down. It just says, "Where's? I don't feel safe without Gyro," and then laugh.
She takes a seat. Yeah, she takes a seat and says, "No one feels
He's like,
safe."
"There you are."
All right. They have congregated for you, Captain.
Thank you all for coming promptly. There are 2 situations which must be resolved. The more difficult one I believe we should tackle first. I made a decision as your captain to perhaps not to directly interpret the Prime Directive. In short, if you look at it as is written, perhaps may have broken it. I transported 3 unknown alien species, members of this race, on board the ship to save them from their lunar vessel being pulled in. I ordered it, of course. I understand this breach, but I would like to see what are the best solutions in your opinions to resolve this matter. I personally think that I should level with them full well. We've gone this far already, breaching 1 Prime Directive. What difference it makes beyond that, as long as we are ethical in how we handle these individuals. I believe we must take great care going forward. Reveal no more than they need to know, and make sure they are in healthy condition, send them back. But I am, of course, open to thoughts. Yes, Commander.
Your diplomatic mission with the Cardonian people, how close were they to warp capabilities?
We had factored that they were near on the verge. It was sanctioned by Starfleet, though I suppose if it hadn't been, it could have perhaps been considered a breach of the Prime Directive, but they were considered mere months away from warp travel at best, if not weeks.
Did the Federation disclose why they welcomed the Cardonian people before they showed?
Not to me, unfortunately. I was EXO at the time. Captain may have received more brief, but Captain Ofield is a good man. I don't believe he would have hidden anything from me that he didn't need to. It was simply a sanctioned diplomatic mission to bring them into the fold.
Perhaps your experience in that can be utilized in our current predicament.
Explain number 1. I'm interested to hear more about this.
Well, there should be a reason that the Federation would accept the Society and allow first contact. It would not be completely known how close they were to warp capabilities. It is much the same as it is with this current society. Perhaps, given the knowledge that they had been conducting space exploration themselves, could be a point to bring up, as well as their imminent danger. And I do not see where their inability to warp would be of an issue.
Gyro says, this sounds like a very political answer. I think the simplest answer is in what relies is what you humans call humanity. And what Starfleet stands for is to better and help people. Though the Prime Directive does state that we should not interfere with alien species. In certain cases, that it has been proven time and time again by various captains on various starships that this has been broken to rescue people of alien species. I think looking at that as a precedent, we are following a similar path to many other captains that have acted in the same capacity.
They're in the distress call. If I recall correctly, they had specifically asked for help, not just to their own kind, but specifically, they noted if any other listener is somehow able to receive the message, which suggests perhaps they may have already had first contact with another race. This is, of course, speculation, but they did ask for help regardless.
To clarify, Commander Viana and Lieutenant Gyro, I'm not asking for any way to explain this breach of the Prime Directive. I know full well what I've done, and I will discuss that with whoever I need to in the Admiralty of the sector. I'm more referring to, since we have done it, I am curious as to how much further we should go with them. I believe, as I said, we should simply take care of these 3 crew members, these three members of that race, and return them home safely rather than disclose more information than their people may be ready for. As far as breach of the Prime Directive, I fully know well what I did, and I appreciate your sentiments, Viana, and your analysis of the situation, but I will level with whoever I must speak to in regards to this in chain of command. And it will be fully on me to bear the responsibility of that decision.
Well, then, to avoid any further implications, you should limit this species' interaction upon this ship and return them to their home world as soon as possible.
Understood. Any other thoughts, or are we clear on that present course of action?
Commander Nax raises a little bit of a hand and says, I would like to take maybe some blood or under the nails samples in order to get a better study of this particular species. This could lead to some more information regarding anything else. Maybe lead to new scientific discoveries. We have enough of their DNA, I am sure, being on that table.
Conroy kind of scratches his chin. I can certainly appreciate the sentiments, Commander, but I also question the moral implications of doing more intrusive sampling, simply because they came here against their will, more or less. Do you understand how that could look? For us, quarantining them and sending them away, that is one issue for burden, I should say, for me to bear with command. But for us to conduct samples, testing, more blood samples, more intrusive tests as that is, you can understand how that could look in a report.
Hmm.
I
Then
understand you.
I will take the samples that I already have, acquired from injecting them in the first place with the radiation treatment. If there's anything left on this, I will not do any further testing on them.
Very good. Anything that does not require any kind
Slough
of
sort of kind of like makes like sort of grunting noises at that exchange, and then you've known Slough to speak his mind and to sometimes on purpose take up the position of devil's advocate, just to bring up a different perspective. And so he says, Captain, you've already broken the Prime Directive. Taking a few DNA samples from them really doesn't match up to that anyway.
Yes, Commander Slough. I agree with as far as breaking the Prime Directive and moving past that, but to break it for an ethical reason, I just don't want our intentions to be questioned if we, say, have blood samples of 3 members of an alien race that we forcibly transported aboard our ship. They did ask to be rescued, but they did not ask to be put in quarantine and treated more or less in confinement in the medbay.
Well, the treatment in confinement has nothing to do with us pulling blood samples. And he sort of makes this hand gesture to make sure that our radiation treatment worked. You see?
Commander Nax frowns at Slal and says, I do not make excuses for what I take. I take things and I'm not going to write in any sort of report that it is just to make sure my treatment works. I know it works. And I will follow what Captain said. And I will use whatever I've already taken.
He looks over to Nax, puts on an amicable smile and says, You do you, Nax. I was just trying to help. Now, speaking about help, it says, and he has a data pad out where he had information, and he glances at the data pads. Engineering got back to me about the scans of the capsule, and it shows that it was horrifically badly built. Barely any safety controls on that thing, so here's a different perspective, Captain. What if they were never meant to come back? And what if they just don't come back? That means we weren't interfering with their society because these 3 don't get to rejoin their society.
Yeah, the captain looks to Slough
And he sort of hands the data pad over and says, Look, it looks almost like if they were meant to die anyway. And sort of hands it over.
yeah, he looks at it and again, Commander Slough, it is a creative solution proposed, and I appreciate your candor with it, but I have to again consider the moral implications of doing that. What if they have families back home? What if they wish to return and we were to simply deny them?
Yes. You're making assumptions. Just ask them if they were planning to go back or not. If they say no, my solution works.
Of course, it is something to consider, but I will have to speak with them more about their mission, better understand how we could broach that subject.
Certainly.
Very well. Any other opinions on this, or shall we move on to the second topic of discussion, more in line with our primary mission of coming here in the first place?
Captain, this might flow into the second part of what you were going to say, but it might be pertinent to question these 3, like Commander Salal said, to find out what exactly they were doing. They did mention that they were attempting to explore other moons within the sector to see, well, not exactly sure what they would like to see, probably if it's habitable, if they can build colonies and such upon them. But it might be, it might give us more information into the civilization itself if we ask them.
This is something I had considered as well. Also, with the Though not immediate, the threat of the the radiation coming from the rings, we do not know if it may intensify or what may happen, so I am a bit adverse to sending ground crew to perform surveillance up close. If we can get more information, albeit we must make sure it seems reliable, if we can speak with them enough to verify everything being together. If we could get more information on the society from these three we have aboard, that would be ideal. I would also like to continue to try to run long-distance scans, see if we can make note of the topography of the planet, population centers, if we can pull that on our scans. As much information as we can pull without having to, with limiting our contact to those on board the vessel. Again, this is a complete culture shock to them. They would have never known another species existed for certain, and now here we are, just here in their home sector. All right. Any other considerations for the second part? Continuing surveillance.
I would advise limiting the sharing of information on our advancements.
Absolutely, I agree. Well, that's everything. Commander Slaw, continue to run engineering and divert power as we need. Please let me know if there are any issues, changes with the generator, warp drive. Standard reports, of course. Lieutenant Gyro, make sure security puts shifts around for as long as our guests are on board. And then once you have that set in rotations, please go ahead and continue scans with the assistance of Lieutenant Dell. Commander Nix, please take care of our patients, report any changes in their condition and anything interesting about their physiology. And Commander Viana, I would like you to accompany me whenever we've had a chance to discuss more in depth, for us to talk more with our guests. I want to give them a little bit of time to recover, but I do want to, with your assistance, go down there and speak with them directly, question them more about their culture, the nature of their mission, and, of course, explain to them our goal, to return them safely, explain to them why we can't tell them more about us, things of that nature.
Just as you say that,
Understood.
Captain, Commander Nax, your comm badge goes off. Someone's trying to reach you. It's Commander. It's Ensign Z. These aliens, Pakarin and his friends, wish to speak to the captain. They asked me to tell you, very insistently.
She grunts a bit when she looks over to the captain and says, "Captain, apparently these, the alien creatures would like to speak with you right away. I will go back down and assess if it is fine for them to speak to you, whether or not there will be any transmission." And she rings back, or she buzzes back to the ensign and says, "Please tell the alien species to wait a few moments. There's a few additional tests just to make sure that they can clear quarantine. But the captain should be down momentarily." And she'll look back up to the captain.
Yeah, he nods. As for everyone else, dismissed as you were to your duties. He rises from the seat.
As was
Commander
your
will follow suit.
What's that? Good.
I was just saying, Commander Viana just follows suit and is going to follow the captain wherever he goes.
Are you guys heading back down to the medical med bay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. On the way, the captain will talk with Viana on one of the turbo lifts, or just when they're walking together. Commander, I wanted to apologize if the tone I took was a bit severe on the bridge. Time was simply of the essence, and I made a judgment call.
If you're concerned of your tone, I did not take any offense to it. I hope you understand my standpoint.
No, absolutely, and I value it. I expect there will be some situations like this going forward that you may be absolutely correct. That decision that I made may need to be reined in, may need to be challenged on it, so please speak freely.
Well, I do have concerns. Mostly, the Prime Directive is there with all the purposes that we have been taught in Starfleet, but I am concerned of the implications that this would have on this society, as well as your command.
In terms of my command, we can't be in command without making command decisions, even if those might go against some of the things we've been taught. I can bear the consequences of whatever it is. I've been in plenty of situations where I've been in hot water, so to speak. But rest assured I will face whatever reprimand with dignity as needed, and I appreciate you following orders during this time. As far as the society, I share your concerns.
Understood. I will be including this in my report.
I expect nothing less. I do agree we must try to minimize our impact on their society. I know that this will already bring a great deal of change, but technologically I agree with you. They can't know more about our ship or our purpose, or where we're from, than they need to know that they're safe and that we will return them home.
Yeah, and I will give a curt nod at that.
Uh,
I will
yeah.
follow your lead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, so there's a screen swipe just as that happens, and it heads to Medical Bay, and Ensign Z is sitting right next to Paquin, and they're talking very intently back and forth as Commander Nax walks in, and you hear Z say, "Yes, that's right. The Federation is a conglomerate of planets with many, many, many different species working in unison with one another, and we are one of those ships."
Yeah. Nax will look over to Z and just start glaring.
Just it's the commander.
What are you doing, Z?
Paquin here had asked me some questions about our ship, the Federation.
Ensign, I think you should come here.
Okay. And he turns around and walks towards you.
Looks to him and she says, "Please go into the other room. You're assigned to cleaning out the various vials that we have used. Make sure they are sterilized. This will take you quite a while."
But
There's no buts, Ensign.
Yes, sir. And he kind of walks out. And as he goes, he passes the captain and just gives a nod again and walks into the other room as the captain and the lieutenant commander, the commander walk in.
Nax comes up to the captain, very hushed. She says, "It seems like Ensign Z has already spoken of some things regarding the Starfleet and our ship. I will speak with him, but I suggest you speak with him later."
No, I will leave it in your hands, Commander. I believe you can be firm with a hand of discipline.
Of course. I am going to run analysis to see if there's any sort of mimetic effects that these creatures can do, just in case, if you would like to speak with them. And so Nax is going to see if, while they speak, she can run some tests to see if they have any sort of maybe telepathic or some sort of mimetic effects on whoever they speak to get them to talk about things they shouldn't be.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead and give me probably a difficulty 2. Yeah, you can do a difficulty 2 and use the computers. Let me get the medicine reason. I would say probably.
Reason? Okay.
Where is the bridge? Hold on.
I've got. I don't know if anything will help with this. I do have psychology. I don't know if that'll help.
No.
No. Okay.
Not in this case.
Darn. Okay, computer, don't fail me. So what does the computer give me? Computers... I'm guessing medicine.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Just like,
Oh!
oh, nice.
Very nice! So
Just
one
three.
momentum in the
Yep.
pool and success.
Yeah, you don't think so? That's the answer.
That's good. That's, well, bad for the ensign. But Commander Nax feels a little bit better knowing that they don't have some sort of... It seems they don't have any sort of mind-influencing abilities, but you can see very visually she's extremely angry as she goes on the sensors.
Yeah, as the captain walks in, Packerin actually stands up. Ah, Captain! Captain! Please come speak with us.
Yes, yes, certainly. Please be seated, though. The treatment was not so long
Oh,
ago.
I feel quite fine. I see. Yes, you are a human. Is that correct?
Yes, I see that the ensign discussed some things with you. Yes, we are.
But your
Yes,
your first officer is Vulcan. I believe that's what he said.
He looks at Viana.
Viana, of course, a very neutral expression. There is a slight hesitant moment before she gives it a very short nod at that.
And all your species and work in unison as equals. Is this true?
Yes, yes. Packard, please. Let's go ahead and...
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. He sits back down.
And he will pull up a seat. And, he'll go ahead and also, while everybody's getting situated, he'll radio up to Gyro. Lieutenant Gyro, please, along with Lieutenant Dell, go ahead and scans. And collect as much information as you can, as we discussed in the situation room.
And of course, Lieutenant Gyro responds, "Of course, Captain." And she will look down to Lieutenant Dell. And she said, "You heard the Captain. Let's get analyzing these sensors."
Starting the scan.
Yeah, we can switch back to you guys in just a minute.
Yeah, and the captain sits down. He bids everybody kind of sit. So, Packerin,
Yes.
do you have any kind of formal address, sir, lieutenant, anything of that nature?
Oh, I am first astronaut Packerin. That is all.
First astronaut Packerin. Very good. I understand that Ensign Z, the gentleman who was treating you, might have discussed some things with you.
Yes, he was quite pleasant and nice, and answered most of my questions.
Good. We just wanted to know a few things about your people. Our mission was to survey you, to gather information on this sector of space.
Oh, yes, I will tell you anything you wish to know.
Excellent. I wish to know... Well, before we get started with that, I must tell you, I am a bit limited in what I can share in return.
Okay. We won't cause any problems with you. We don't... I mean, this federation that Ensign Z told us about, and the cooperation of many races and species is quite confounding to us, but I understand, I suppose.
Good. Just know it's part of our mission for that. Yes, tell us more about your people. What, how do you refer to yourselves?
We are the Pochai. We live with the Modar. They are another species on our world. Unfortunately, the Pochai are, how do you say it? The female Tomalar speaks of slaves, I believe is the word. Yes, slaves, indentured servants. We do the bidding of the Modar. Our people do. Uh, that is the way. That is why I am so surprised hearing about this cooperation between species as equals.
Yes, it was a thing that took many years to achieve and is still ongoing. So, as far as your mission, we did do some scans of your vessel. I would like to know more about that. Were you sent there with the expectation you would return, or what? What happened exactly?
Potentially we would return, but if we did not, it is no great fuss to the Modar. If we return, sometimes they, well, sometimes we become test subjects. Sometimes we are dissected, I believe is the word. But no, we have limited options for survival. Limited, I believe the percentages of survival of our people for lunar astronauts is something like 60% for one trip, and it goes down from there, obviously. Tomilor, and he nods over to the woman, certainly, well, I do not wish to say it, actually, it is quite terrible, but she just speaks up. Yes, I would have been dissected because I have been radiated in the past and can no longer bear children, so I am no use to them. My breeding stock is done.
I see. I'm sorry for the state of the place you are from. Not sound ideal.
But you could help us. You could help free the Pochai. With this great ship and your great knowledge.
Unfortunately, our prime directive prevents us from interfering.
Why? You are here to do good. You work in unison. With other species as equals. We would like to be equals.
We are here merely to observe.
But we are here.
Baccarin, what my commander is saying is true. We are limited in what we can do. What I have already done, saving your lives, bringing you aboard this ship, if I can be quite honest, against your will.
We distress called. You heard us. You brought us in. It is not against our will.
But we have kept you here. It gestures around, and that's the reason quarantine, your safety and ours, and to prevent you from seeing too much. Can I explain our prime directive to you? Do you understand why we must engage in this way? Why we cannot share so much about us?
I will listen. Yes.
The prime directive in our, I suppose you could call it a ethical code of conduct for...
You have been very ethical. You have helped us. You have given us care.
Indeed. But in regards to the prime directive, we are not able to interfere in the planet's primary development. What would occur naturally? We have already done that to some degree, but for me to do what you're saying, for me to take my ship and release Uchai from the Modar, that would, I hate to say it, be consequently unethical of me. We have almost no information on your planet other than you shared with us, and the physiology that you bear, what we have recognized here. Nothing of the history, and clearly with your ship you are nowhere near being warp ready, which is a condition of us being able to interact with you fully as a species, as a race, as a planet.
But we are people. We live. We suffer at the hands of the Modar. You do help people, yes?
We do, but we must weigh the consequences of this action, and if I were to do what you asked me to do, It is more reliance than equality.
That,
It would take quite some time for your people to be technologically
if you wish not to get
able.
involved, you have great weapons you could give the Pochai and we could liberate ourselves.
It would be the same as me using my ship for you. We cannot introduce superior knowledge, strength, or technology to any world whose society is incapable of handling such advantages. It is not something I relish telling you, but more than we have already done, we cannot do.
I see.
It could do more harm than good.
You are wise men, Captain, but you see where I am coming from, clearly.
No, I understand fully.
Well, perhaps we could stay here then. Not go back?
Were you expected to return?
50%. If we did not return, it would not be unacceptable or unthought of.
Unexpected.
Unexpected. What were you going to say, F?
I was going to ask a really quick question. Did they say what their mission was?
To basically explore the other, the moons.
Oh, okay.
That seems feasible.
I do not know how comfortable I would feel taking you elsewhere or keeping you on board. I cannot keep you on board. That would be, again, an issue for me, and who is to say you would not try to return once you learn more about us and attempt to do what you have already stated you would on Uprising, which I am not saying would perhaps not be ideal for your people, but I could not keep you here. Where could I take you? I would feel rather uncomfortable leaving you elsewhere in the great wide galaxy, in unfamiliar territory, unaware.
But
You see my position, Pecker.
I do not understand why taking us elsewhere or helping us would be... We are people, we need help. You help people. Just because we do not have technology means that you cannot help us. This does not make sense to Packerin.
It's not the nature of the technology, Packerin, is that your people and the people that are your overlords on the planet may quite clearly are not equipped to handle the knowledge of the galaxy. It may hinder development. It may create a different cycle of development that was not the intention and not the natural development of both your races. It could cause much worse than just what is going on right now, if that can be believed. I know this is a difficult thing to grasp, but I have been many places in the galaxy. I've seen it. It could very well happen here, if I allow it to, if I do this thing that you're asking. Taking you elsewhere is something I can consider. But you must think it would just be the three of you somewhere else. You'd be alone for all intents and purposes, or among strangers, people that you may not mix with their customs. I might be condemning you to a fate worse than the ones you are already assigned.
Perhaps we will think about it. Do you mind if perhaps we have a tour of your ship? No important systems or anything.
I'm afraid, Packer, I can't allow it. Again, tour of the ship, even under guard, is too big of a risk for us. But I will allow you to remain here, and if you have any requests, if there's any kind of foods that we can bring you, or something to keep you contented while you think on things, I will be able to do so. But we cannot keep you very long. I can allow you to stay for the duration of our mission. No longer. At that point, I will have to either return you, or if there is a Class M planet suitable for you, I could take you there, but I would feel ill at ease in that case.
He nods. He doesn't really say anything else. He just simply nods and looks over to Tomalor briefly. You can see there's kind of sadness in his eyes. You kind of that universal look of just upset.
He nods and he get up, and knowing that conversation's finished. Commander, shall we return to the bridge?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll head out. And
So Yara, you're up on the bridge, right?
Gyro, yes. She's up on the bridge doing the sensor scans with Lieutenant Dell. She's not here, obviously.
Viana would like to speak to the captain on their way back to the
Absolutely.
bridge.
I'll put you
Sure.
in the turbo lift. Hold on.
Captain, we are presented with another dilemma if we are to return them. Apart from the ethical dilemma of what may possibly happen to them, we have to also consider that they know too much already, and that could also have implications.
Potentially, Commander Viana, but I wonder how much these Modar, these overlords that sent them out in the first place, will even give credence to their story. Second, without context, that information is irrelevant. What could they use it to do? They know nothing of our technological specs, what a warp drive even is, any kind of technology.
It is uncertain, but I may recommend, given the circumstance, that we would need to seek counsel with higher command.
How long would it take for us to send a message to somebody in the Admiralty?
Oh, not long. You would get you probably get him on the screen immediately.
Yeah, he would think about it, and I mean, they're already in, so...
There is some radiation, so it would probably be a roll to do it, but...
Okay. Yeah, he thinks on it. I will do this. I will... When we return, I will give you the chair. Whatever information Yara and Dell have come across, I will take, but then I will head to my quarters and contact the Admiralty directly. I'll make them aware of my
Understood.
situation and what I plan to do, but as of right now, I plan to return them, as much as it bothers me to do so. We'll seek counsel on what to do otherwise.
All right. In the meantime, back at the bridge, Gyro and Dell, what are your intentions?
Dell will run the scan as asked, and if Gyro wants to help, we'll welcome that quite a bit.
Gyro will help, yes.
Okay.
Apologies, Gyro.
Everyone's mispronouncing it, but it's Gyro.
Yep.
Like a delicious Greek food. Okay.
Like your
Okay. So Gyro, go ahead, Dell. You go ahead and run the scan. You would be doing science, reason. I don't see difficulty 2 because of the radiation storm.
This is astrophysics related or not?
I'm gonna say no, because this is more about geography and that kind of thing.
I'm assisting, so what is it? Security.
Security reason.
Cool. She will attempt to assist.
You have 3 momentum in the pool, Dell.
Well, she's just,
Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
help.
So she doesn't help.
Since this is trying to get a
Mhm.
sensor reading through the radiation, which I did earlier in the adventure, does that talent kick in
I
then?
would say yes.
Okay. And then...
So you're already rolling 3d10.
I think so, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okey-doke, roll that. Submit. Difficulty 2. Submit.
Okay, you generate 1 momentum. And then you need to do
I
the
think
computers too.
Oh, that's right. Click on
I
the
would do
ship.
that would be task sensors. I would say sensors science.
So science.
Another one. Okay.
Okay.
So you could spend momentum for more information, that kind of thing.
Because I am the leading science officer, when I succeed as a task with ship's computers or sensors, I generate 1 bonus
go.
momentum to be used for obtain information.
Perfect. So you already did it. Okay. So what information are you looking for exactly?
He was asking for any sort of civilization level information, right? I think cities.
Yeah,
the geological
there's
standards
various
for-
cities. You can tell, and you get a readout of the population centers. Topography is there's several humongous cities on the moon. You can tell that you have basically the bio signs of the Pochai, and you can see there's about 800 million of them, and about 100 million of the Modar, you assume is the Modar because it doesn't match the biosigns of the Pochai. You're talking about a fission level society. You would equate it to, 21st century Earth. Pretty several hundred years behind the current time for, Federation technology. You would think that they probably would not be warp capable for another 200 years at the very least if everything went perfectly.
Okay. That's the that's using 1 obtained information momentum?
What else would you like to know?
Because I think I have 2 more momentum to spend.
Yeah, you could. I don't have much more information to give you unless you're looking for specifics. You
Are we
can
already at 5, or did you put us at 5 because of my roll?
Yeah. You do see that they are do have several satellites around the moons and the planet, that sort of thing. So they are, but they're the short range. They can't see your ship currently. You're almost 100% positive that they have no idea you're up here.
And again, was our pool 5 out of 6 before my roll?
I've been adding
did
it.
you-
I've been adding it.
So have my momentum been put in a pool yet,
Yes.
or not?
Yes.
The extra 2?
Mhm. Yes.
I see. Okay.
It was 3 before.
Is there anything we could pick up from them? Like, are they for example blaring out radio, TV, any sort of other transmissions we could pick up to sort of enrich our database?
Sure.
Because that'd be something that Dell might want to sort of record, so he can show that he did his job really well on this
Yeah,
mission.
you get some satellite data. They do essentially high speed data via satellites and things like that. You're able to pick up quite a
Some
bit.
of it bleeds out, I
Yeah.
reckon. Yeah. That's cool. Cool, and then I think we still have the help from Gyro coming in.
Oh, she did not help.
Oh, she failed.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep. So
I'll log that all away for the captain and sort of make sure there's a notification when he sits on his chair, ready for him to pull the information up.
Yeah. You get pretty much the perfect amount of information. You're doing your job perfectly, I would say.
Thank you.
Excellent job. All right, Captain, would you like to talk to Starfleet?
Yeah, as they return, he will head into his captain's quarters. He'll go in and on the bridge let everybody know. I'm heading to my quarters to contact the Admiralty. Commander Viana, you have the chair.
Captain, I'm sending you the I'm sending you the sensor data now. I suggest you review it before contacting Starfleet.
Ah, very good, Lieutenant. Thank you. You're performing admirably today. Well done.
Of course.
And he heads into the room, shuts it, and then he has a seat and calls out.
Yep, you can contact Starfleet. Doesn't take much to do that. The admiral in the sector and that has given you this assignment is Admiral Efik. He's a Vulcan.
Yeah, and he'll be reviewing data as he calls. Admiral Evic,
Captain.
glad you answered, sir.
Of course. Your maiden voyage. How is the Carthage treating you so far?
Carthage is running smoothly, as to all expectations, and beyond. As for the mission, anything but typical.
Well, let's hear it then.
I have a proposal of how to handle the situation, but I wish to present it to you first of what happened and what I intend to do. When we entered the system, we picked up strange interference, a metallic object around the Jovian gas giant, which was discovered to be a manned probe. I will speak plainly. I, against the orders of Prime Directive, saved those on board. They had sent out a distress call, and I felt compelled to bring them aboard the ship. I quarantined them and isolated them to prevent any information being disseminated or their eyes wandering too much around the ship, and I've kept them contained and limited the information they've received in regards to us. But I did receive information from them about their situation, circumstance. We know quite a bit more about their society than we did before. And he'll send over the data to the Admiral to allow him to review it before they continue.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything. He's reading something. You can tell he's flipping through. Yes, continue, Captain.
Well, they plainly say they do not wish to go back. They are stratified on the planet. The race that we have on board our ship, they are subservient to a overseer race called Mordar, I believe.
Yeah, Modar.
Modar. They are the Hokai, and they are subservient to the Modar. I, against my moral compass, wish to return them. I don't think that they know enough contextual information for it to affect their society. Their overseers may not even believe them. Though I sympathize with their plight, I understand that we have already gone a bit far in regards to the Prime Directive. I do not wish to do anything else. They were attempting to get me to assist in an insurrection. I could not even consider it. I wanted to reach out to you.
They are considering
few of us.
insurrection because of what they've learned on your starship, Captain.
Knowing what power we had, yes, they pleaded with me to liberate them. I rebuked them, told them I could not give them weapons and could not aid in their struggle. All I could do was treat them for their radiation sickness and return them.
If you return them, they will perhaps sow the seeds of rebellion, will they not? Logically, if they were not returned, then the Prime Directive would not be broken.
The alternative I was considering was taking them into a Class M planet they could sustain themselves on. But they are not, well, accustomed to anywhere else. I am certain we could find a place to take them, but I simply would not wish for them to conflict with any other species, race, for their beliefs, their cultural differences, their physiologies.
Well, Captain, logically, their return to their planet would certainly cause more strife than them being taken to the nearest starbase for rehoming. I believe this is the right course of action.
I appreciate your assistance in this matter, Admiral. I'll return to my command and resolve this.
Good. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Admiral. Captain Conroy out. He will cut the feed.
As this is happening in Medical Bay, I'm thinking there's one security officer there probably now, yeah?
There's at least one or two that still stay there. Like, Gyro's not leaving them without somebody.
Yeah. Let me do this real quick. Okay, I think Dell's not... He probably can't see anything. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let's take 5 minutes. We're almost done.
Sure.
Yes, this is, I knew what was gonna happen from the goddamn start.
Oh my
Like,
god.
Yep, we're gonna do this. And there's a Bajoran on the ship.
I don't get what the reference is. What are you talking about?
So, my character is a Bajoran. So, the thing about with the Bajorans and everything, they, there is the occupation of Bajor that the Cardassians did for a number of years. I think for about, 60 years or so. And basically, Cardassians enslaved and strip-mined Bajor and enslaved the Bajoran people. They used to be very, like artistic people. They used to be very calm, very philosophical, but because of what the Cardassians did to them by like enslaving them and at one point like trying to wipe them out, had really turned the Bajoran people into like more violent people. Like DS9 was based around like after the occupation. And basically a lot of Bajorans became freedom fighters, and they wanted and tried to enlist the help of the Federation, but for a the Federation refused for a long time to help them because they didn't want to quote unquote get involved. Eventually pressures from I think internally in Bajor and also from the United Federations helped push the Cardassians out, as well as Bajorans getting more and more violent and like basically bombing Cardassian like facilities that they had constructed on Bajor. But the damage that the Cardassians did to Bajor is like near irreparable, and it'll take centuries for them to rebuild back to anything they had. But the Bajoran people themselves have been forever changed. So there's been like a whole thing where a lot of Bajorans became very xenophobic. They didn't want to join the Federation because the Federation basically almost did nothing for them and didn't bother to help them. And there is a really bad taste in like Bajorans people's mouths because of what happened. Like they hate Cardassians obviously because of what Cardassians did. So having basically a situation that's similar where there's a race that's enslaved by another race, it's very reminiscent of what happened to the Bajorans with the Cardassians.
Are you saying that applies because of your character, Gyro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she was an occupation survivor.
Mm-hmm.
So she would probably have a very strong opinion on what we should do.
Yes.
If
She
knew
hasn't
more
been told
details.
much.
I don't. No, I don't know anything.
Actually, we're gonna...
Of course, you're on a need-to-know basis.
Actually,
Go talk
we
to
are going to
NCZ.
change that. We are going to change that right now. Hold on.
Well,
Take that complication.
Yep.
well,
There's,
why are you putting
yeah,
it
because
there?
there's a reason.
Uh-huh.
Your Lieutenant Gyro, your communicator goes off. Lieutenant, this is Ensign Z. Can I speak with you, please? In Turbo, Engineering Level 4.
She says, "Is this pertinent?"
Yes, it's definitely a
Ensign.
security issue. Could you please come down here, personally?
Is there an issue with security?
I need your help, please. And he stops talking.
And she's concerned hearing that. He sounds very distressed. So Lieutenant Gyro gets up, and of course she addresses Commander Villana and says, "There seems to be an issue down in Medical Bay. I will return swiftly."
Understood.
She gets up and goes to the turbo lift and heads down, hurrying to medical, thinking that there really is an issue, maybe something violent's happening, so she's hurrying.
Yeah, so this area is like down the hallway a bit from medical, and you see Ensign Yi, and he's pacing across the hallway. Oh, Lieutenant, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
She's about to go into the other room, and she says, "What's the emergency?"
Oh, it's the aliens. I spoke to them at length. I thought you might want to. Well, being from Bejor, I just assumed. I guess. Well, I'm stammering a bit. Sorry, I'm not used to this sort of thing. But did you know they're slaves?
Her eyes open widely, and she says, "What do you mean?"
They're a slave race. All of them.
To whom?
To someone called the Modar. The way they are described to me, they're small, a meter tall. Basically, the Pochai, they do all the physical labor. I mean, they even sent him up in that pod expecting them to die. Some of them were going to be taken back and dissected for research.
Gyro takes a deep breath, and she puts a hand to her ear where her that earring is that attaches the base of the lobe and goes up and clips onto the top of her ear. And she kind of rubs the inner part with her thumb and her forefinger, and takes a deep breath and exhales. And she says, "Ensign Z, you've done a good thing to bring this to me. Does anyone else know this?"
I think they talked to the captain. I believe they told him, and the commander was in there, and I believe, well, I assume Commander Knox and Commander Vajana were there. I just feel terrible for them. Do you know if the captain's going to help? It didn't seem like he was going to. I was listening in. I shouldn't have been, but...
She puts a hand on his shoulder in a comforting way. It's that heavy, right metallic arm that she has. And she says, well, for most other, I would say, ranked officials in Starfleet, they would not be very impressed with what you did, but what you did is admirable, Ensign. It really is.
Good, I'm glad you think so. What can we do to help them?
Well, I am unsure of the captain. I do not know much about what was written about him. I don't know what kind of person he is. I will speak with him on this. Whether or not anything happens, we will make sure to help the Pochai.
I think that's a good idea. I'll stay down here and keep eyes on the med bay. Perhaps we could get them out of there.
Yes, but I would rather talk to the captain first, related to this.
Okay. I'll stay down here as much as I can.
And she nods and she turns and she'll take the turbo lift back up. Inside the turbo lift, she's absolutely fuming, of course. But she's able to keep composure out when she's talking to others. She's learned to channel her inner Pa and keep herself calm. She knows that many other races don't understand the plight of Bajorans, and because they don't experience those things firsthand, they don't understand. She's had a lot of interactions with people as such, but she would be pretty angry, but she doesn't want to assume anything with Captain Conroy, not until she speaks with him.
Alright, heading to the captain's quarters then. I think that's where he is currently. This is all kind of happening generally simultaneously. And there you go, you can go in. Let me switch the... I'm sorry, I didn't switch the scene.
think Gyro would wait. Just know if he's busy. Is he still busy on a call right now?
He would be in there reviewing information. You could always like buzz the door, and if he wasn't, he would just he wasn't ready to just tell you.
Yeah, she
That would have
buzzes.
been his instruction.
She buzzes the door and waits.
Enter.
Gyro enters, her hands behind her back, very official, standing up straight, shoulders back. She looks at the captain and says, "Is there anything regarding the Pochai that I should know, especially when it comes to any pertinent information in dealing with them?"
Oh, certainly, Lieutenant. I was going to gather everyone again to relay my decision, but I don't see any issue with talking to you now. Please have a seat. And the door is closed behind her, obviously being the person. Moves his computer out of the way. I did have a discussion at length with the Pochai regarding their situation. It's a stratified culture. They are enslaved by the race. It is not something that I like to hear in regards to their situation. They are routinely abused, used as test subjects. Even these three weren't expected to return from their mission. They asked me to get involved, to Starfleet, the ship. It didn't feel good to turn them down. But
you did, Captain.
I did.
She frowns deeply at that. She says, "So you can offer them no respite. There is nothing that Starfleet can do for these people at all."
I can aid the three on board the ship. I spoke with the Admiral, and he suggested an alternative, and I, reflecting on it, agree.
And what is this alternative?
Well, the three on board we can take to a Class M planet,
And what about the
Starbase, and allow them to be rehomed.
What about the rest, Captain? The rest of the Pochai?
Gyro, we can't interfere with this planet any more than we already have.
So you're not going to do any other inquiries, any other tests regarding these Modar? See if they are not even from this planet. Maybe they came in and are now occupying said planet.
I would say the information you got, Captain, from Dell would suggest that's not the case.
And he'll even share that. He'll bring up his screen. You can review it yourself, Lieutenant Gyro. They have always shared this planet, and insofar as our information came up, and it was information that you and Dell gathered, it is very accurate. This appears to have been a state of affairs for a very long time.
She continues to frown and says, "You understand the situation this puts me in, Captain."
I could never claim to understand anything you went through, Gyro. I don't know the depths of it, only what I read on your personnel record, but
Have you read in depth on the occupation? What they did?
I am familiar with what people have recorded, not with what actually transpired.
I'm just curious. You have not bothered to read into such things, but it is difficult to expect from many people of other races to care much on what happened.
I did not say I
Enough
did
to
not
read
care, Lieutenant. But this is not Bejor. That does not make it any better or any worse. It simply is. And I must consider what our involvement could do to this place. Are we liberators? Or was there a time in history when the roles were reversed? Become as conquerors? What do we come as? Do we displace them and then perhaps the Modar don't survive? We've killed off an entire race? What would you have me do, Lieutenant?
I think more research should be put into this and not just shrugged off as just waiting for them to see what happens. For our inaction can cause the extinction of another race that has done many, many times over in Starfleet.
If that is what the natural course would dictate, we cannot interfere with that. It does not...
If the natural course were Cardassians eliminating all Bajorans, would that be fine with you?
Of course not, Lieutenant. But what happened, happened. You were able to succeed. I do not claim to agree with all the decisions Starfleet makes. But this situation is not the same. It is not the same.
You guys are going back and forth. The scene's going to switch really quick to the medical bay. Raz, you can go ahead and play Lieutenant Cornwell, a support character for this scene, if you would like. What happens is in the medical bay, Commander Nax, would she be still in there doing tests and whatnot?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, she's making sure especially that they're still there. She's not going to be questioning Ensign Z.
Yeah.
Not until this is all over. She knows not to leave.
Yeah. As you they're like looking at each other, and you notice they're kind of whispering under their breath. And Packerin gets up and kind of walks over here towards the door, and she kind of gets up too and starts walking towards the door. They all do.
Yeah, Commander Nax, of course, be like, please, the quarantine is not over. Sit down.
What does the lieutenant do?
The lieutenant will sort of step back towards to physically block the door. His right hand moves to his phaser. Left hand out in the usual guard of like, please stop. And he will say, please get back to your beds and follow the orders of the medical officer.
I do have an ability for this. It's called Doctor's Orders.
Nice.
It's basically attempting a task to coordinate others or to coerce someone into taking or refraining from a specific course of action.
Nice.
I can use my medical discipline instead of command. I don't know if that would work in this case.
Let's see. Let me see something real quick. I'm gonna see you spending threat real quick. What can I spend a threat on? Where is? I know I can do that. Give me 1 sec. Come on. Threat. 281. Yeah, 281. Yeah, you can do that. The difficulty is 4.
So it's medicine. Would it be daring?
Yes.
Cool.
Is she assisted at all by Conroy?
You can assist with security fitness if you want.
Oh wait, no, it's about you. Fitness dick. Would this be Can I use my focus of composure to get them to sit the fuck down?
He helps.
I say
Cornwell
no.
helps you.
Darn. Okay,
Use
well,
momentum if you need.
I'm going to. How much
You
momentum?
have
Oh wait,
5.
I can know
It's
because
right here.
there's a boop. Okay, I am going to spend 3 momentum in the pool to get so 46 total. So I have 1.
20.
All right, so I have no focus, which is fine. It's cool. It's difficulty 4. Yeah. So yeah.
Sit
So
your asses
using
down.
like Lieutenant Cornwall stands in front of the door holding out his hands and very aggressively Nax is like, "Did I tell you you could stand up? Sit down."
This Samaz, he kind of steps back, and Pakarin looks between the two, and he looks like whatever they had planned is kind of ruined, and he just rushes the lieutenant. And keep in mind, this guy is 7 feet tall. So combat rule, we'll do it.
So is Lieutenant Cornwell.
He's
If you
huge.
can narrate that, then I can
Yes.
narrate
7 feet
that too.
tall when it matters.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna put it in his bio that
8
he's
feet
5'3".
Hell yeah.
2 7-foot tall monsters go at it.
I'll just have to use the beginning of the sentence. Keep in mind, and then I invent anything I want.
It's just 2 kaiju basically going at it.
I already did say.
So I guess. Keep in mind, Lieutenant Cornwell is a long descendant of Bruce Lee.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Good luck.
All right.
A focus and
Go ahead, Lieutenant Cornwell. There's a minor action to just draw your weapon, so you can have that out pretty much for free.
And he was absolutely ready.
Yeah,
His hand was
sure.
on it. So I will do a. This must be under.
Yeah, you have a token just to
Oh
shoot.
no, actually, phaser attack phaser.
Yep. And you can use
I know
You
Nax
can use
would
momentum if you want.
Nax will definitely do something if she
Yes, she
can.
What does the group think about using that last momentum for this shot?
Do it.
Do it.
Fucking do it.
So that gets.
Oh yeah, we got +1 momentum because I got an extra 1.
You did.
That's
You're at 3.
3d20.
I did.
Yep, 3d20.
Ah.
Okay, you're down to 2. Okay.
His focus is hand phasers, matter of fact.
Yep.
And then shoot him.
You miss. You need.
I need
Yeah, task
2.
difficulty to 2. So you shoot and he kind of
Okay.
knocks your arm out of the way. Commander Nax, what would you
Rude.
like to do? I don't know that you would have a phaser on
Can
you.
I? No, but she definitely have a hypo on her. Can I run up behind him and basically try to inject him with a tranquilizer?
Yeah,
Classic
you
Star
can
Trek.
try with a
Yeah.
security fitness. Yep.
Okay. Let's see. I don't like. Okay, so can you give me a quick rundown about how to use so it's when values are challenged. That's when you can use
Yes,
determination,
mhm.
right? Damn. Okay, because this fits in with my values. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
So what would I roll for
security.
this? Would it be phasers?
No, unarmed.
sorry.
Unarmed. Just do an unarmed.
Just do an unarmed attack. Okay, I got this. I got this. And by I got this, I mean I don't got this because I don't know unarmed.
Oh, it's fine. You got it. Easy.
Aki's not here to curse the roll.
Wait,
All
roll
right,
is
so
not- oh, no.
that's you generate 2 momentum.
Well, that is perfect. Straight out of a Star Trek episode.
It really is. So he charges.
Let's see, what would it
Sorry, go ahead.
be? For damage, just go ahead and click roll damage.
Yeah. I was thinking the effects,
Yeah.
right? If
2
I do some effects, then
So I'm gonna say that he's basically very wobbled. His anatomy doesn't work exactly. Actually, I'm gonna make a roll for him. I'm gonna make a security fitness for him.
I do have something that allows me to assess, I think, like, things that I don't know. Gives me additional bonuses. I think that is quick study, but that's just when I'm doing medical procedures.
So what I'm gonna do
Actually,
is I'm gonna use I'm gonna do like an imposed roll here. So
Can I spend a momentum to re-roll those 2 black die?
but
you have
before
an
you
actual
do that,
reason.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna see if he might not succeed at all, and then he he goes down.
Mhm.
So he's got 2d20 on this roll.
I'm gonna use the momentum to make it harder, right? Create problem.
Create complication.
For every-
Yeah.
So I spent 2 momentum to make it harder for
Okay.
him.
So that'd be okay. So I'll use some threat then. I'll use 3 threat for 2 dice.
No.
Okay, so his difficulty is 1, 2, 5.
Oof.
Amazing.
All right, there we go.
It is a hyper spray.
See how motivated he is.
5 difficulty.
Nope.
Yeah.
So how does it look as he kind of like falls down?
Yeah, so Lieutenant Cornwell like pulls out his phaser and fires at the guy, but Packrin knocks his hand away, and then Commander Nax, she just she sighs and says, "Damn it," and comes up behind with a hypo spray and like reaches up because she's a bit short, and she reaches up and like hits it into like the mid center of his back, and there's that sound of as it disperses into his bloodstream. Some sort of tranquilizer that she has ready, and he stumbles for a moment, and his eyes roll into the back of his head as he just collapses onto the ground in the heat.
Yeah. The Tomalar runs up to you and tries to grab you after that. I'm going to spend 1 momentum for an extra die.
So Nax's ability really only worked on one person.
Yeah.
Yeah, only on Samaz. Oof. I got punched.
So in the way I'm going to do this is instead of you taking stress, she wraps her arm around your throat and puts her other gigantic clawed hand at your neck on the other side and back up, I don't want to do it. Talking to the lieutenant.
Nax, this is get the captain. Get Gyro.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that is the next thing. Lieutenant Cornwell will, of course, level the phaser at both of them, and then with his other hand tap the comm badge. Lieutenant Cornwell to Security Chief Gyro. We have a hostage situation in Medbay.
Gyro says, on my way. Continue to inform me as I'm coming.
And as you
Sitting down with the captain.
back up, and as the standoff continues, that's where we'll call it for the night.
Nice.
I'm so happy that worked though. Holy shit, it's so good.